Alrighty, so today we're going over one of my favorite decks. This is a repost, by the way, just because the audio broke on my upload. It is the Blue Yellow Ace deck. It's one of my favorites, one of my mains. Of course, leader ability activate Dawn, attach to Dawn, activate main, look at top 5 cards, add 1/5 cost to the top of your life face up, and then bottom deck the rest of them in any order. And then at the end of your turn, of course, send all your face up cards in your life to the trash. Double-edged sword here. If somebody throws up your life or a character into your life, like a purple big mom, uh, and you don't have a way to flip them down, it will die. This does stem from, or this game or this deck does use the ace a lot, the baby ace, the big aces. I do run 3 big aces, one from EBO1, the one from the OP07, the blocker ace, and of course classic rush ace from the Three Brothers set. Again, the aces do synergize very well here, and the new additions into this deck, obviously from EBO1, is the Blue Ace and of course the Zeus, as you can see on the screen. In terms of the overall deck breakdown, just to go over it, of course, it does synergize very well with these characters. Of course, you could, depending on how you end up playing, you could throw up your leader ability, or prior to even doing that, if you're on 7 on turn, 9 on turn, you could of course throw up your leader ability with the ace, and then the ace will help you place it, the blocker ace I'm saying. And then of course the leader ability synergizes beautifully with the new Zeus. Of course, you may add 1 card from the top of your life or bottom of your life to your hand, and then knock out 1/5 cost. So this is a quick pop, similar to how Thunderbolt works, the event, but instead of it being a brick in your hand end game towards against the current meta in Asia, you do have the opportunity here to use it as a 2K. Again, the EBO2 Ace here, if your leader is Whitebeard, so this is primarily almost exclusively for Blue Yellow Ace and of course Marco. This will be usable in the Ace and Newgate, Ace and Whitebeard deck as well. But if you do summon that Ace again, you do drop a you do have you pull up 5 cards. You get to search the 5 cards and you can pull a 2 cost. I do run 4 different 2 costs in this. 5 different 2 costs in this. Of course, Viola, Sanji, Hiyori, Zeus, and Baby Ace. Sanji, again, classic. 2 Dawn. When you attach 2 Dawn when attacking, you get to pull top or bottom life, and then add 1 card to the top of your deck to your life from your deck. Again, this is a great way to heal. I only really use it at the beginning of the game. Again, Zeus as well. Say it very similar, but again, not healing. It's just a pop, just like Thunderbolt, as I mentioned. Again, there's a lot of removal in this deck, similar with all the red rocks, Gravity Blade, Yellow Nami, Big Blue Kaido, and of course Zeus. You have a lot of removal. The 10 cost here, I'm running Kaido. There's a lot of options here. I have a very iteration where I run Yellow Eustace 8 cost Kid, where you do true damage by resting that character on play, or you could run the Whitebeard, that the Edward Newgate, the 10 cost Whitebeard. I find he's not really played just because of the life restriction. If this was simply just a drop, and after you drop, you have the 2 card tax on any character swing, this would be wonderful. But because it is exclusively tied to your Whitebeard deck, and on top of that, it's tied to being at 2 life or less for it to actually even have an effect, it makes it not only leader locked, but not really a great card. If it was just leader locked and it didn't have the life restriction, this card would be played way more in Blue Yellow Ace decks and Marco decks. If it was just no leader restriction and no life restriction, it'd be great, right? Of course, blocker A, we'll just go through it. We'll have 2 blockers, blocker Ace and blocker Viola. Viola used to heal or rearrange life of your opponent, which is great. Again, Sanji, Satori has 2Ks, 5 cost Satori as a trigger. I have Hiyori as well as a 2 cost plus healing plus exchanging plus depending on what you want to do on your turn 1 if you're a 2 Dawn turn. Denjiro trigger out body plus 2 Dawn if you have 3 or less life. You cannot be knocked out by character effects, which is wonderful, which is great against the former black deck or current black decks with knockout effects. And he's also a trigger, which synergizes with your Nami. Jinbei here as well. We also have a return of up to 1/4 cost or lower card to your opponent's hand, and then this actually goes back into your hand. So when it does trigger out, you actually get to return a 4 cost to their hand. Plus, it comes back into your hand, act as a 1K counter. It synergizes with the Nami, as I mentioned. I do run only 3 Zeuses and 3 Sanjis with a bunch of 3/5 costs, and the reason why is because you want your Sanji early game, but towards the middle and end game, you will prioritize using Zeus, but you still want that early game advantage because Zeus turn one isn't really useful, whereas Sanji turn one is useful if you're going if you're going second. Again, I have my other removals, Red Rocks, Classic, and then of course Gravity Blades, obviously also synergizing with the Nami. But again, in total removal, I have 6, 9, 11, 12, plus the 3 Kaidos. I have 15 overall removals, which are great for the deck build. And then in terms of overall, I guess, Dawn efficiency, it's pretty solid. You have Baby Ace, wonderful. Again, I have 3 types of aces, so I have 12 aces, one almost a quarter of the deck is aces, so I will have a high chance of at least summoning Baby Ace. And during the main game, when you're putting bodies up on life, unless it's specifically to get a body out like a Denjiro, Jinbei, Nami, or Satori, which obviously are the other 5 costs, you almost always want to run your ace if you're going to plan on dropping your EBO2 ace. And you'll see that during the game, and I'll explain what I mean. During if you do drop the EBO2 ace, of course, that EBO2 ace uh, will just synergize because you have a chance of dropping any of your 2 costs except this Sanji. Your 2 cost, if you drop the Sanji rested, it won't really do anything, whereas Hiyori has it on play. Baby Ace, if you have the ace up top, you could use the Baby Ace, whereas if it's another 5 cost, you only are limited to Zeus and Hiyori and Viola. And then, of course, if you do drop the Baby Ace or drop a big ace onto your life with your leader ability and you drop this EBO2 ace, of course, you have the opportunity to use Baby Ace as well. So you do have other options instead of just Viola, Hiyori, and Zeus. If you do put an ace on life with your leader ability and you then play out the EBO2 ace, this blue ace here, of course, you will have the opportunity to use Baby Ace as well. So it increases your options on what you can play because it does play out a 2 cost rested, right? You don't necessarily need to play out the Sanji because it's just going to, unless you're trying to divert swings, because Sanji is almost always a kill on sight because it is a free heal. But pretty much that's it for the deck. Let's get right into it. So, in terms of the first match, we have a classic matchup in Asia right now. It is Kobe. He is a very popular leader from what I've seen. Uh, this is prior to the Moria ban, so I don't remember if he does play Moria, but Moria does get banned. And what I mulligan here for is I'm trying to search for Baby Aces. Baby Ace is a key factor here. And of course, this is a great opener. I have Hiyori to drop my Denjiro. If I'm facing like a purple blue Luffy, Denjiro immediately triggers out if he swings. And of course, this leader ability for Kobe is if he has his sort of characters can attack on the turn they're played. And if I am doing any type of removal to him, he can actually return 3 cards from his trash to the bottom of his deck instead of having me remove that card. So again, very strong leader. Again, he just plays his on play just to reveal. And then for me, I'm just going to drop Hiyori. And like I said, because I have Hiyori and Denjiro, I'm going to put Denjiro top. So when he does swing on me, I do get the trigger pop. I could have thrown the Nami up while he has nobody there. But again, I'm not here to just pop his 1 cost nothing, which is, again, after his on play, it's just to buff a character by 1k. On his activate main, and then he trashes that card. So for me to pop it with a Nami is kind of pointless. Again, and it's a searcher, obviously. But now I do have my Nami Jinbei combo or Nami and other trigger combo at 5 Dawn turn. So I can cast that to pop it, or I could summon Baby Ace or use my leader ability, summon Baby Ace, swing double sevens with the Denjiro with 1k without 1 Dawn turn. And then, but he does have 3 in trash. So if I do pop him, he will just return the trash. So for me, I'm just going to use leader ability. And like I said, almost always you want to drop the ace. I'm going to drop the Baby Ace here. And then look, surprise, surprise, I get another 2 cost into my hand, and I'm going to choose to not play, anything. And now I'm going to get a 7 swing onto Kobe, and then another subsequent 7 swing with my, a 9k swing with my leader. And if he takes it, great, he'll be at 2 HP. If he doesn't take it, he has to fork up 2 cards, which is just going to bolster his trash, right? So again, his trash being important because he does have the opportunity to drop his big Kobe's. He has 2, they usually run 2 types of big Kobe's, and those Kobe's utilize trash as well. So for him, he wants to build up his trash as much as possible, just like any classic black character, and that's basically it. So he takes the damages, which is wonderful. And then now he's gonna use his blocker, his 4-cost blocker, which reduces a character by 6k, which is humongous, but it's leader locked to Navy. Now he's gonna swing with his searcher for 2k here. I can stop it, but I'm not going to. Why bother? It was a free trigger body anyways. I have the Hiyori out. He has enough in his trash to prevent me from doing removal, so I'm going to have to rely on trigger bodies or triggers to do the removal because he's at 6, right? And that's the big 8-cost Kobe I'm talking about. You return 2 cards from the trash to the bottom and in the order, and then buff your leader, right? In this case now, same thing. I can run the key play here, which is throwing up leader ability and then dropping my EBO2 ace. And you always want an ace. So I have all my ace options, and I'm just gonna pick a 2-cost here. If it was a baby ace, I'd immediately summon the baby ace. It's a Zeus, it's a Zeus. If it's a Hiyori, it's a Hiyori. And for me, I could either try to pop, but again, his leader ability is gonna prevent that. But you want to keep his trash down as much as possible anyways. So like I said, I want to use the Jinbei here because he has a bunch of 4 costs and it's a free trigger body. And what I want to preface here is this is prior to any updates. Jinbei does, and I forgot that this happened during this game. So Jinbei does bug out this leader for Kobe on the sim. So when he does end up swinging on me, and I do believe I was fairly comfortable here. I feel like I was going to win because after this, he swings at my leader. I trigger out Jinbei. I'm going to return his card. He's going to cancel it. He's going to take 3 cards from his trash and put it to the bottom of his deck. And then he's going to have less in his trash overall to be able to obviously continue using his leader ability or continue using big Kobe's like he's doing here. So again, he could swing at active abilities because then he can attack active. That's just what his the on play is for that big Kobe. And then so I'm not going to counter here. I'm just going to let him take it because again, not a big deal. And in terms of him attacking now, he's going to start swinging at my life. I want to take this, but again, the game does bug out because I'm going to try to return his 4-cost blocker. I trigger, and because I trigger, I click on him, and then he's going to use his leader ability, and then he's going to try to return it back from his trash, and then he's going to say, oh, like generally speaking, and there you go, he returns cards from his trash. And then now I still have the floating Jinbei right there, as you guys can see. And that floating Jinbei is going to prevent me from on the right hand side. It's just bugged out. You see that floating? It's just bugged out right now. I have submitted the report several times. I've reported this externally, and I'm hoping it's fixed by now. But again, I haven't faced the Kobe since. Yeah, and now and this has happened before. I've reported this bug a few times, and game died. It's over. Nothing I can do about it. And he's it was a fairly close game. He was 1 HP, 5 cards in hand. He has a big leader out or big boss out. I have Red Rock. I can't really Red Rock him, and he does have Moria. So, like I said, he does have the Moria for the next turn. It could have gone either way. It was very close. I didn't have any big bodies to play. So again, that's that. So let's just jump right into the next game, the next matchup. Pretty straightforward for that one. Like I said, Kobe is a very strong leader. I do have a very good win rate against Kobe using this deck. So that's the only thing there. The only real decks I had trouble with is if I don't have the right cards against Blue Purple Luffy, and if I don't have the right, and then traditionally right before Moria was banned, I had a tough time with Lucci because of the 21 Dawn turn that Moria can play with Lucci, where he summons Spadine and all those guys, Rebecca, so on and so forth. But yeah, another new leader, Blue Yellow Nami. Very similar style in terms of her deck building, but she obviously runs her more Straw Hats, and her Nami sister, I can't remember that card name, but it returns a card to hand for basically a 1-cost, which is very powerful. And her leader ability, you may activate this once per turn. If life leaves any life area, you can add a card, draw a card, and add it to hand. And then if you have 1 Dawn attached, obviously you can, during while opponent is attacking you, you can discard 1 card, you get 2k buff for the rest of the turn of your opponent's turn. So very strong, very defensive, but you're tied to basically putting 1 card in hand or 1 card on your leader. So to use your defense, you can't really drop a 10-cost character on curve or not on curve. You just can't. And like I did before, I mulligan for Baby Ace. I have a couple of Violas. I had a Sanji here as well. I'm just going to take it because I'm going to heal next turn regardless. She gets to draw a card. She used her ability. I have Gravity Blade, great card for this matchup. Again, for me, do I want to drop an ace, or do I want to just throw a Jinbei up to heal, throw a counter up, or throw a Viola up and heal and have a blocker? And for me, I'm going to obviously just use my ace, just because it's almost always beneficial to play a 2 Dawn card, have myself buffed by another 2K, use my leader ability so I'm swinging 9. But in this case here, I'm just going to use my Sanji just so it diverts a swing to my character. And like I said, Sanji is almost always kill on sight. If you don't, I'm just going to continue to use him to gain cards. He might have a putting in hand, which is quite horrific, but it is what it is. And then we'll see what she does here. Does she counter? Does she take it? And then, of course, I'm going to follow up with a swing here with a 7 cost because she does use her leader ability. She does buff herself to 7, but I already used my leader ability, so I'm already at 7, so I'm going to swing again. So she needs 1 more card to counter. So regardless, she needs 2 cards to counter instead of 3 cards overall, which again is quite beneficial. She would have had a total net savings of 1 card if she decided to counter there. She's just going to Red Rock and move trigger on me, which is great because I do have my Big Kaido in hand, and this could have been Big Kaido, this could have been Eustace Kid, this could have been a combination of both. It could have been Tenbeard, but again, Tenbeard is very difficult to have because the way I like to play is I like to heal myself to be very beefy because those are cards in hand in the future, and then drop big drops that help with removal and basically add big bodies. But and the Whitebeard, the not Tenbeard, blue 10 cost Whitebeard. Wow, that's a mouthful. Is not the greatest for my play style. I have played where I've beaten my buddy Dan, who's a Lucci player. I'm gonna relish that victory forever because I did have 3 Whitebeards in a row. It was a one-off. I never beat him with Ace just because the way his deck is comprised and he knows how I play and how we've played for a long time together. But yeah, and now he drops a 5 cost. He doesn't have any Dawn attached to his leader. And I see that pudding, so I know he's going to do a pudding combo on me at some point. So I want to start using cards. I want to start countering. I don't want to take the hits. I want to use up my cards because it forces her to use pudding as a counter versus using pudding as a, oh no, I took the damage. Okay, so for me, again, I will pop the from what it looks like, I am planning to pop the Katakuri with a leader ability or with a leader ability Zeus combo. And then I will be dropping a baby ace here just to get the ace out of my hand. So what I should have done is probably countered a bit, not taken the hit. I would have had the exact same combo, the exact same play. I would have been down 2 cards, or even, yeah, down 2 cards. So let's say the 2 aces or a Viola and an ace, like a blocker ace, for example. And I wouldn't be at 10 cards in hand, or what is that? Yeah, 9 cards in hand, sorry. I would be at, say, 7, and it makes it so she would be more reluctant to drop the pudding. But if she does drop the pudding, not the end of the world. Now she's just figuring out her combo and her play. She does do a great play next. Not to I guess spoil anything, but she does do a great play overall after this turn, which I thought was very like the way that she thought it out and the way she played it was really good. So she obviously here, which you'll see, because she really uses her leader abilities and her removal abilities and really maximizes her pain and suffering to me, which is actually pretty cool. Like how she has it all set up, right? So in terms of this play coming up, like I said, she thinks about it. I'm sitting pretty comfortably because she has the pudding in hand. I'm like, oh, I'm not or putting in life. I'm like, oh, I'm not worried about this. Even if she has a pudding in hand, that's the worst case scenario for me. And I have a baby ace, and I have a Zeus out. Zeus being a 2K body isn't great, but I have 1 games with Zeus, and then she drops her own Zeus, takes her top life. Obviously, now she has pudding in hand. She has 5 Dawn. She kills my baby ace, which again is the worst. Like I said, oh my goodness, now I just lost the baby ace that I had planned on saving to protect. And now she's going to obviously just drop that pudding she pulled from life into her hand using the Zeus to obliterate my hand. I just got another baby ace. I lucked out there. Plus, I have a 2K Sanji. and I have two big aces here, so it's not as bad, and I do counter it out. But that was a great play. Like for her, she did essentially 4 cards worth of damage to me, and then on top of that, she got a 4 cost body out, and she cleared my baby ace that was on the field. So again, this is the combo I was talking to you about. Use leader ability, drop a big ace, which lets me summon another one, and now I get to use another drop of ace, and which is a great combination overall. Now it's swinging 10, obviously, because I double buffed. This is an 8 Dawn turn. Again, on the 8 Dawn turn, I got 10 Dawn worth of characters out. I got 2 big aces. I used 1 card overall, which was the big ace. And then I basically got 10 Dawn, plus I swung for an additional +5. So that +5, oh, and I lost the red rock there. That's okay. That +5, if you count that as Dawn, that's a 15 Dawn turn on an 8 Dawn. That's a 15 Dawn play on an 8 Dawn turn, right? So really maximizing the use of ace in this case, really maximizing your abilities, really maximizing the usage. And again, I'm just trashing myself because I know she's gonna buff, but I have 2 baby aces. I'm gonna YOLO it. She's going pretty ham. I don't want her to heal, so I'm gonna try to do as much damage to her as humanly possible. Right? Just try to blast her, do the damage, and try to end the game as soon as possible. She does have the opportunity here to drop a card on her leader, drop 2 cards on her leader potentially, and then just swing 7. But she is going to pop my blocker probably. And she's going to take that 1 life. And now she's just basically giving up because I don't think she could stop me. And she didn't even use her leader ability. So I think she has nothing in hand left. Or if for me, what I would have done is I would have thrown 1 out onto life and then just hope for the counters. But with my baby ace combo, if I get an ace, I'm going to buff myself for free. And I try to give her props on that play, but obviously she has me muted or something, and I can't. And again, I have my rush ace combo, like I said. So this is a very, very gnarly combo. I'm just going to drop a 5, simple 5. She has nothing to trigger out, right? So it just burns 1 card, not a big deal. And then she just surrenders. She has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She has 5 counters. So there was no issue with stopping me. And then we'll play one more game against another very classic, very meta leader, Bonnie. I think it's the era of green decks now. Green and I guess that purple blue Luffy. It's the era of the purple blue Luffy. Everybody else is going to be a green combination, right? It's just the way it is. Because now that with the Moria ban, the Jinbei ban for Doffy is still very strong even without Jinbei because of his leader abilities. But obviously, it's curbed by the fact that he doesn't have Jinbei to basically drop massive bodies out anymore. And now, in terms of this, very classic play, I want to take ace, and this is just me getting a free card, right? So I can swing 7, and the reason why that is I don't want her to swing at my big ace. She's just going to rest. Not a big deal. It happens. She's probably going to take it because she's a 5 life leader. They usually do. I usually hate when they don't take it, actually, because it really frustrates me, but it makes sense. I do take the Viola on the play here, so I do gain some cards. And when she doesn't play, when a 5 cost or a 5 life leader doesn't take the damage, and they play a very tanky long game, I think that's the best way to play the 5 cost or 5 life leaders. Personally, like when I play 5 life leaders when I'm playing like Boa, Doffy, whoever, I prefer to just preserve my life because I'm not when I play blue yellow ace or like red yellow Bello Betty, I just let them hit me. I'm gonna heal back, or I'm just gonna burn them down by trigger bodies or what have you. But when I play like a 5 life leader, I like to preserve my life, so I don't like to take the hit, especially because it's only like a 6K swing or a 5K swing. I'll just use that 1 card counter. I'll get the card in the future. And here, classic combo, leader, ability, put a life up, Zeus, take that life into hand. So I gain another card, so it's gaining cards. And then, of course, Zeus to pop her 5 cost Cavendish. And now I'm swinging 7. She's going to rest somebody. Oh, okay, she rests the ace, which is great. And then now I could get another swing out to get another card in hand, or I could drop baby ace, which I'm just going to drop baby ace. So I have a bunch of weenies on field. And again, she has rested my big ace, so she has to start doing stuff. She has to start doing damage. I have a lot of removal for her Shanks, for her uh, Eustace Kids, for her Hodies. But the main thing here is, which if I were playing her, I would prioritize getting out at least a Tashigi at some point, closer to your 8, 9 Dawn turn, maybe even your 10 Dawn turn, just to boost up your anti removal because that's huge, right? And now I'm in rush mode. She did a swing on me, so regardless of what happens, I'm gonna be in rush mode. Of course, classic. At I could get the rush ace out. I already have a baby ace played, and I could still do the removal with my Nami Denjiro combo. I don't have to use a Zeus combo because that's what, like I said, it's nice to have. And then I'm just gonna buff myself to 8, do a naked 8, and then she's gonna rest my 5 cost ace, of course, but now I'm going to just use my baby ace to pop my big ace to get a 7 cost swing. And I have rush, of course, because she put me into rush mode. And now she's at 1 HP. I'm at 2 HP, but she has a 2 cost blocker. And that's game. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. We'll catch y'all on the next one.